A covert Iranian operation, codenamed DRY-DOCK, is now believed to be active. Its objective: to paralyze the entire United States Fifth Fleet without firing a single missile. Can the Pentagon detect this silent threat before its most critical naval asset is rendered combat ineffective in a dry dock of its own making? The United States Fifth Fleet, headquartered in Bahrain, is the sharpened tip of American military power in the Middle East. From this strategic hub, flotillas of destroyers, cruisers, and support vessels police over 2.5 million square miles of water, safeguarding the world's most critical maritime choke points: the Strait of Hormuz, the Suez Canal, and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. It is the guardian of global commerce. Its warships ensure the uninterrupted flow of nearly 20% of the world's oil. But what if the guardian itself could be caged? Intelligence reports compiled from multiple allied agencies now paint a disturbing picture of an audacious and patient Iranian strategy. This is not a plan for a conventional naval battle, a scenario for which the U.S. Navy has trained for decades. This is a plan for strategic paralysis. It is a 21st-century siege designed to neutralize a superpower's naval force by transforming its own fortified harbor into a prison. The operation is multi-pronged, asymmetric, and designed for maximum impact with plausible deniability. War is imminent. Markets are plummeting. The world is watching. But the first move in this conflict may not be the launch of a missile, but the quiet transmission of a single, encrypted digital command. Operation Drydock is not a theoretical wargame. Evidence suggests its initial phases are already complete. The plan hinges on exploiting the very geography that makes the base in Bahrain so valuable. The fleet's access to the open waters of the Persian Gulf is through a series of narrow, dredged shipping channels. These channels are the fleet's lifeline and, according to this new intelligence, its designated kill box. The primary weapon is not a torpedo. It is the insidious, patient, and brutally effective naval mine. Sources indicate that over a period of many months, operatives from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force have executed a clandestine campaign of asset placement. Using civilian dhows and small, difficult-to-detect submersibles posing as smuggling vessels, they have allegedly pre-positioned over 100 advanced naval mines along the floors of the Khawrid al-Qula'a and other key approach channels. These are not the crude, contact-detonated spheres of past wars. The intelligence points to the deployment of sophisticated bottom-influence mines, likely derivatives of the Iranian Oyster and Manta designs. They lie buried in the silt, inert and invisible to most conventional mine-hunting sonar. They wait, silent, each one a checkmate piece in a deadly game. These weapons are triggered not by physical contact, but by a combination of acoustic, magnetic, and water pressure signatures unique to a large naval warship. They can be programmed to ignore all commercial traffic, targeting only the specific frequency and metallic displacement of a multi-billion-dollar Arleigh Burke-class destroyer or a Ticonderoga-class cruiser. The entire minefield can be switched from dormant to active by a single, encrypted, very low-frequency acoustic signal broadcast from a vessel hundreds of miles away. This newly revealed minefield presents an unprecedented threat. But how would the immediate, de facto closure of the Fifth Fleet's home port impact global stability and financial markets? The answer is catastrophic. The perception of the United States Navy being trapped and impotent would send shockwaves through the oil markets. Analysts project a potential surge in Brent crude prices of over 50% in the first 24 hours, triggering a global recession. The question for investors and policymakers is no longer if a conflict will impact the economy, but how to hedge against a black swan event that now appears to be in motion. The physical threat of the mines, however, is only the first layer of Operation Drydock. The second prong of the attack is entirely digital, targeting the port's logistical brain. Concurrent with the mine-laying activities, a dedicated cyber warfare unit, assessed to be a division of the IRGC's Signal Intelligence Command, has reportedly achieved persistent access to the network of the Khalifa bin Salman port. This is the civilian port that operates adjacent to the naval base and handles all of its critical logistics and resupply. They have not engaged in destructive attacks. They have been watching, mapping, learning. Their malware is a digital sleeper agent. It has burrowed deep into the terminal operating system, the software that orchestrates the movement of every container, the schedule of every crane, and the flow of fuel from storage tanks to the naval piers. The goal is not to steal information, but to seize control of the physical world through digital means. On command, this cyber unit can trigger what is known as a logistics denial event. Crane operations would be frozen. Container stacking maps would be instantly corrupted. making it impossible to locate critical military supplies. Fuel pumps would be remotely deactivated. Shipping manifests would be scrambled, creating a phantom fleet of ghost ships, while real supply vessels are deleted from the system. The result would be total, paralyzing chaos. The U.S. Fifth Fleet would be physically unharmed, yet completely immobilized. Warships with depleted magazines and low fuel tanks would be unable to rearm or refuel. A vessel in need of critical repairs at the base's dry dock facility would be unable to even reach it, its path blocked by a deliberately created traffic jam of multi-thousand-ton container ships. The port would become a parking lot. The fleet, its prisoner. This digital siege creates the perfect smokescreen for the third and final prong of the operation: human assets. Intelligence suggests several IRGC-backed sleeper cells are in place within Bahrain. These are not frontline combat units but small teams tasked with low-tech, high-impact sabotage to amplify the chaos created by the cyber attack. Their targets are soft and predictable: the primary power substations that feed the port complex, the fiber-optic communication hubs that connect the base to the global command network. A few well-placed explosive charges, detonated in coordination with the digital assault, would cripple backup systems and sever communication lines, isolating the base at the most critical moment. This three-layered attack, sea denial through mines, logistical paralysis through cyber warfare, and infrastructure sabotage through sleeper cells, forms a comprehensive strategy to neutralize a superior military force by attacking its dependencies, not its strengths. It is a textbook case of asymmetric warfare, designed to achieve a strategic victory before the opponent even realizes the battle has begun. The trigger for Operation Drydock is not tied to a formal declaration of war. That would be too obvious and would invite an immediate, overwhelming response. Instead, intelligence now indicates the activation sequence is linked to a specific, seemingly innocuous event: the routine departure of the fleet's command ship, the USS Mount Whitney, for a scheduled multinational patrol exercise. That departure is scheduled for 0600 hours tomorrow morning. The activation command for the mines is likely programmed to broadcast the moment the Mount Whitney passes the final channel buoy, trapping it outside the harbor while the rest of the fleet is sealed inside. The entire operation, from the mines to the cyber attack, is a meticulously crafted stage. But here's the terrifying question that has emerged in the last hour. What if the play being performed on this stage is not the one we think we're watching? What if the intelligence detailing this entire plan was deliberately leaked? This is the fourth and most devastating prong of the attack: psychological warfare. The intelligence briefing that outlined Operation Drydock, delivered by a long-trusted, high-level human asset within the Iranian establishment, is now believed to be an intentional deception, a Trojan horse made of data. The Iranians wanted the Pentagon to know about the mines, the cyber attack, and the sleeper cells. They wanted the U.S. to see the cage being built around its fleet. Why? Because the fleet isn't the target, it's the bait. The real prize, the primary objective of this entire enterprise, is a single, experimental U.S. Navy asset currently operating out of Bahrain under a cloak of extreme secrecy. Its codename, CETUS. CETUS is the world's first fully autonomous, AI-driven mine neutralization platform. It doesn't just find mines, it communicates with them. Using a revolutionary quantum resonance emitter, it can non-kinetically disarm or even reprogram sophisticated bottom-influence mines from a safe distance, turning an enemy's minefield into a harmless grid of inert metal. Its AI is a generational leap, capable of learning and adapting to new mine technologies in real time. It is, without exaggeration, the key to American naval dominance for the next half-century. Its capture would be a strategic catastrophe on a scale not seen since the loss of the Enigma machine. And the Iranians know that the moment the U.S. confirms the existence of the minefield, standard operating procedure dictates the immediate deployment of its single most capable countermeasure. They know we will send in CETUS. The entire Operation Drydock, with its multi-layered threats, is an elaborate hunting blind. The minefield isn't designed to be impenetrable. It's designed to be a labyrinth. Intelligence analysts now believe one specific channel leading out of the port has been deliberately left with a less complex, older generation of mines, just difficult enough to require CETUS, but predictable enough for the UUV's AI to choose that path. And waiting at the end of that channel, in the deepest part of the shipping lane, is something else entirely. Not a mine, but a trap. A series of deep-sea, networked capture devices designed to ensnare the UUV, sever its communication link with its home base, and tow it away to a waiting ghost vessel. The deadline of 0600 hours for the Mount Whitney's departure now has a chilling new significance. It's not about trapping the fleet, it's a forcing function, a trigger designed to make U.S. command rush their decision-making, to default to their most advanced tool without full consideration, to walk knowingly into the hunter's snare because the alternative, allowing the Fifth Fleet to be publicly humiliated and trapped, is politically unthinkable. The Pentagon is now faced with an impossible choice. Let the public and global markets believe the Fifth Fleet is impotent, triggering a potential economic meltdown, all to protect a secret project the world doesn't even know exists? Or deploy CETUS to solve the problem, risking the loss of a technology so advanced it could permanently alter the global balance of power? The clock is ticking, and inside that command center, a new, horrifying realization is dawning. The compromised asset who delivered the initial intelligence is still active, and he might be listening to them make their decision right now. But as a single NSA analyst stares at his screen, his blood runs cold. The warning wasn't just a warning, it was the weapon. Buried within the intelligence file that detailed the minefield was a dormant logic bomb, a digital parasite now attached to CETUS's own command software. The Iranians haven't just built a cage in the water, they've planted a time bomb inside the key meant to unlock it. The choice is no longer just lose the fleet or lose the drone. It's now trigger the trap yourself. The command center is silent, the air thick with the gravitas of an impossible decision. But in the digital ether, the battle has already moved beyond the binary choice presented by the Iranians. The NSA analyst looks up from his screen, a spark of dangerous inspiration in his eyes. The logic bomb isn't just a threat, it's a connection, a digital umbilical cord back to its creators. A new plan, audacious and incredibly risky, flashes across encrypted terminals from the NSA to the Pentagon. The choice isn't to disarm the bomb or to sacrifice the drone. The choice is to weaponize the trap itself. The Iranians, watching through their compromised asset and hidden back doors, see exactly what they expected. The Americans are taking the bait. The arrogance, the over-reliance on technology, it's all playing out perfectly. From a submerged command and control vessel hidden miles away, the Iranian commander gives the order, activate the logic bomb, seize the prize. But the signal doesn't trigger a catastrophic failure. Instead, it's a key. The NSA's counter-program, wrapped around the logic bomb like a digital antibody, springs to life. The incoming signal is hijacked, its origin point triangulated in milliseconds. On the Iranian tactical map, everything looks normal. The CETUS icon continues down the channel, right into the waiting arms of the capture device. They have their prize. But on the American tactical map, reality forks. The Iranians are now chasing a phantom. Their deep-sea capture arms close on empty water, their ghost vessel towing a decoy signal, a digital echo programmed to mimic the drone's signature perfectly. They are blind to the truth. The real CETUS, silent and invisible, has already turned. Its mission is no longer defense. The activation signal has painted a bright, unmissable target on the Iranian command ship. The hunter has just become the hunted. Without a sound, CETUS positions itself directly beneath the hull of the enemy vessel. It doesn't fire a torpedo. It doesn't need to. It unleashes a focused, high-intensity electromagnetic pulse, a silent, invisible wave of energy designed to fry every piece of unshielded electronics in its radius. The crisis is over. The Fifth Fleet is safe. The world's most advanced naval asset remains a secret, its true capabilities now terrifyingly proven. This wasn't a battle of ships or missiles. It was a war of ideas, of deception and counter-deception, fought in the milliseconds between a signal being sent and received. A victory won not with an explosion, but with a keystroke. The conflicts of the 21st century will not always be loud. The most critical battlefields are the ones you cannot see. To see the patterns before they become headlines, to understand the silent wars that will define our future, you need more than just the news. You need a radar. Subscribe to global_crisis_radar. The front line is everywhere.